When you think of publishing, you may not directly relate it with surveillance. However, surveillance plays a large role in multiple publishing formats and can be viewed in itself a publishing technology as it aims to do what publishing does, to make something public. It is an aggregation, a form of publishing that involves collecting and highlighting important information from the world around you. So now that we have established that, we can compare two different types of surveillance. One prevalent in our society and another dating back to the 16th century. In the time of King Henry VIII the Rule, it was common practice for men of the Privy Council to have spies performing surveillance. On the 13th of February, 1542, Catherine Howard, the fifth wife of Henry VIII, was beheaded in the grounds of the Tower of London due to evidence that had been collected through surveillance. Thomas Cranmer had aggregated both oral and written evidence in order to publish this. In Tudor England, according to Walter Ong, the oral commonplace tradition was very strong. The impact of this was that society still relied heavily on oral modes of publishing, including testimonials. These had a much greater value placed on them in the 16th century than they did in today's society. Thomas Cranmer used surveillance in the oral form to garner confessions from people close to Catherine, perhaps even through threats of torture.
John Cornell, the ladies Parnell, Bassett, and Morton, the Queen's 2 pages, and Culpeper's body servant.
The aggregation in surveillance in the 16th century, though the printing press was around, focuses largely on the interception of private letters, which would then be made public to the king. We know this today thanks to the benefits of archiving. The National Archives of the UK contain the original letter sent by Catherine Howard to Thomas Culpeper, which incriminated them both in a romantic relationship, making Catherine's adultery an executable crime. The impact of this aggregated surveillance on romantic relationships is that it led to the execution of previous lovers of Catherine Howard. And as technology changed, so did society. The publishing technologies of surveillance set up the reign of Henry's successors, particularly Elizabeth's, as a police state, and this surveillance created such a level of mistrust in Elizabeth that she refused to ever marry. Fast forward to the present, and thanks to new publishing technologies of surveillance, particularly on social networking sites, relationships are being seriously impacted. This surveillance is known as interpersonal electronic surveillance, and is characterized as surreptitious strategies individuals use over communication technologies to gain awareness of other users' offline and online behaviors. As Dr. Christian Fuchs puts it, internet platforms such as Facebook process, store, analyze, and commodify a lot of personal data, usage behavior data, communication data, and social network data. Robert Tokunaga believes that there are 4 characteristics of social networking sites: accessibility, multimedia, recordability and archival, and geographical distance, which conspire to form an ideal forum for exercising surveillance. Surveillance today is also aggregated. Today we have multiple platform personas, and using something like an RSS feed to find someone's Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr and YouTube account is commonplace. Whilst privacy settings can be controlled, most choose not to, as there is a presumption that people must submit to a certain level of surveillance for others. In a 2008 Joynson study, it was found that surveillance was the second most popular use for social networking sites. A study by Stern and Taylor in 2007 found that over 60% of college students used Facebook to check up on their significant other. While some scholars believe that this kind of surveillance fosters healthy interpersonal relationships by allowing people to stay involved and keep in touch with members of their social community, such as Lamper et al., the time romantic couples spend on Facebook on their partners' profiles is related directly to interpersonal jealousy and distrust, which can be detrimental to romantic relationships. In a study done by Teresa Hertman in 2011, data showed that information discovered via Facebook had led to 29% of the college student subjects to question their partner's commitment to their relationship. A wealth of information is available on social networking sites through status updates, updated on one's current condition, news feeds, automatically generated updates about one's recent activity online, etc. So, how is this surveillance then published? Well, the discovery of someone's infidelity, photos from a night out, messages from someone stalking one's Facebook are often shared as evidence to friends and published on further networking sites such as blogs, confession pages, forums, or even private messages on Facebook, which can then be hacked easily. The previous partner of your current romantic interest may have published incriminating evidence that would not have been known without today's surveillance publishing technologies. There is an abundance more surveillance published in today's society, but at least in today's society, you won't lose your head as a result.